There's one thing about Louisiana. They don't pussyfoot around anything. They're bold with their statements, and they also follow through. But they're also very resilient, loving, strong people, which is why I've loved them. But it makes them a very interesting perspective to look at in this fight on hemp and the fight on cannabis, because they're going a little bit harder than some of these states, but they're also setting the ground at what can get done and what cannot get done with the right amount of lobbying power and the right amount of legislation behind them. A couple months ago, Thomas Presley from Louisiana put a bill to completely ban hemp, all because of the sake of the children. That was his only argument, and that was the problem that we were having. The children. Things were going through pretty nicely for him until the general public of Louisiana, who did not get a vote in this, all we can do is use our voice, got very loud and contacted their representatives and contacted their senators. Representative, senators, same thing. So SB 237, which was to completely ban hemp, whereas the hemp industry is begging for regulation. They don't want to be free and willy-nilly either. When we were loud, it brought down Bill SB 237 to ban hemp. That was just to protect the children. They moved on to House Bill 952, which asked for more stringent regulation against the hemp industry. That's what consumers wanted. That's what the businesses wanted. We should all be happy, correct? No. Friday evening, when his bill got taken down and HB 952 was on the road to passing, Presley came back in and put in an amendment on Friday night. The session ends on Monday. That these drinks and these low-dose hemp beverages, garden gummies, whatever you would like to call them, are going to be okay, but we are going to ban them from bars, restaurants, and convenience stores. But they make a very stringent differentiation between convenience stores and truck stops. Truck stops are still okay. How does this help the children? Bars are already age-gated. Restaurants, they age-gate. Convenience stores, they are already regulated to make sure that the people drinking and eating these are 21 plus. And even if they weren't, we can still go buy them in a grocery store now with the bill that passed. Why would you ban bars, restaurants, and convenience stores? I said on the Biz New Orleans podcast 2 weeks ago, before this got filed, the problem was not the children. The problem was alcohol sales are down. And we're talking not just a little bit, not just here or there. We're talking industry ending, I believe, in 10 to 15 years down. And by selling these alternative alcohol alternatives, bars have closed that revenue gap. Convenience stores have closed that revenue gap from not selling alcohol. Alcohol distributors that are not partnered with the very major large alcohol companies have started selling these beverages to close that income gap. That keeps jobs, that keeps tax revenue, and it keeps our small businesses, our mom and pop restaurants, our mom and pop bars that define and make Louisiana what it is. That's who Presley wants to hurt with this. That is the only people it will hurt with this. Why are we still saying it's for the children? Gold Ringer. I'm going to say names. I know a lot of folks won't. Okay, here we are. Gold Ringer, who owns Sazerac, privately owned, the second largest spirit company in the entire United States, is based out of Louisiana and is very high donor and very well connected to these individuals making these rules. And if you think alcohol sales can't be that bad, I pulled Diageo's 2023 annual report. They are publicly owned, so you can see these numbers. It'd be fascinating if you looked at who publicly owns them. They lost 1% in revenue in the United States, North America region in 2023. They've never seen loss before. They usually post double-digit growth annually. They are owned by investment firms. Investment firms do not want to own companies that are posting annual losses. 1%, not a big deal, you think? $76 million is what 1% of their annual revenue is. Yes, big alcohol is threatened by low-dose hemp beverages. In Louisiana, this whole thing got enacted and kicked off by the top beer lobbyist in Louisiana, sending an email to the entire state legislator about the outrage of these products being available. It's hurting their bottom line, and rather than let competition come in, because that should be what capitalism is. I am pro-capitalism, but it means that when a better competing product come in, it is supposed to be a free market, that we can allow that. We shouldn't be making laws that directly stop everyone that would benefit to hurt, so they can remain in that elusive elite position. Now you might ask, the truck stops. Is that truck stop clause in there bothering you? Because it bothered me. And so I thought, why would they really want to single out the truck stops here? Well, I went back on my logistics operations background from 2015 and how many meetings I sat in on about how much the cost of logistically and operationally moving furniture across and around the country, because that's what my company did, was exponentially increasing because there was a massive shortage in truck driver labor. Okay, still no big deal. Yeah, there is an expected shortage this year alone of 80,000 truck drivers for the needs of the United States. They're expecting that deficiency to be 130,000 truck drivers by 2030. Still might not see how that ties into a Louisiana law that got slipped in on a Friday night. Yeah. So if you go on NORML, which is a marijuana advocacy organization, there's a great article about how 2/3 of truckers and their carriers are begging, they're in favor of marijuana legalization. They have 70% of the applicants were turning up with positive marijuana tests, making them unhireable, making our shortage worse. And their argument was, why should I be punished for something that I did 3 weeks ago if I'm not actively consuming when I'm on the job? Great point. So there's a lot of federal lobbying going on within the trucking organizations to make, because they're federally regulated as truckers, to take out the marijuana part of the urinalysis drug component. Federal lobbying in progress being made there. Will they do oral swabs if they're expected from impairment? So if truck drivers want all this to be legal, and truck drivers and their carriers have lobbyists in the feds right now fighting for this, and they're about to move it to Schedule 3, they don't want to piss off the truck drivers. Because by making this little clause and knowing what's coming on the federal side shortly, we might be talking state, but they're working with their counterparts in the federal, and they're going to take out that marijuana component in the truck driver analysis. So if they don't sell it and the truck stops here, because let's be honest, a truck driver can't just pull over, take an Uber to a convenience store or take an Uber to a grocery store and collect for the week. Their jobs are awful. They're on the road. They need convenience, convenience, convenience. And if you piss off the truckers, that leaves us in a bigger bind. And if you piss off those truckers, not only are they not driving, you've now pissed off a lot of very wealthy companies that rely on these truck drivers. It's not about the children. It's not about the safety. It is about the very few folks in Louisiana that are being directly impacted by these laws, and it is the very wealthy alcohol company that sits directly in Metairie and is very well connected to the government, and it's directly the new shipyard owner, famous family, that just bought out and has almost an exclusive grip hold on the medical marijuana in Louisiana and is the top Republican donor to our legislation. It's not about the children, it's not about safety. Those two are hurting. Everybody else that trickles down the line, your small business, your consumers, your tax revenue that goes to early childhood education, every small business and consumer, because you can't go get it there now, is going to hurt. Stand up and get loud. The legislation ends tomorrow.